wa barakatuhu. Welcome to Come Let's Talk with me, Kassim, Kayira. It is 7 minutes past 8 o'clock in the United Kingdom. That would be 7 minutes past 10 o'clock in East Africa. That's Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania. In the Central African Republic, in the Central Africa, that will be already. It will be just 9 o'clock, 1 hour ahead of GMT. In tonight's conversation, inshallah, mbaniriza nnyo mwenna abakutobudde abatutobudde ne baddumiza okujoininga conversation yeno. After 13 years, after more than 13 years, what is going to happen is now we are going to be getting a new leadership of UMC that is going to be driving the organization for the next 3 years, at least constitutionally, for the next 3 years. Driving the organization, an organization that has done immense work from the QI'DAH, the grassroots work that started in people's homes and then started building very slowly to a point where, at least as a community now, we have one big mosque, we have 2 other mosques in the offing that might be coming to join that. I think for the period that has happened, alhamdulillah, that is definitely something to celebrate. Twebaza Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala twazisa obulamu okututuusa ku lunaku olwaleero. Bangi nnyo probably that would have wished okuba nti balamu and they have not been able to do that. Allah okuba nti atwazisa obulamu n'atutuusa ku kintu ekyo kyakula kyatendo kyamaanyi tekyogereka. Basically there is no way nga ye mwennyini bwatugamba baada audhu billahi minash shaitani rajim wa in ta'uddu ni'matullahi la tuhsuha. If you were to count the blessings of your Lord, you can never count them. So they are countless. Ne bwobanga ogenza okwerimba nti ogenda kubala ebyengera bya Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala byabatuusaako tosobola kubibala. So katabalika bye byengera bye nyamwe muli ekyengera ky'obulamu. Tonight we are embarking on a journey. Oluvannyuma lw'emyaka 13 nga tulina obukulembeze obuliwo. Later this week on Thursday, on the 2nd of June, bi'idhnillahi azza wa jalla, we shall be having elections. Elections in London that will be completing elections that were started in the counties, in the shires, after a new provision was made by the Electoral Commission to allow people outside London to be able to vote within their matwares. As a result, Newcastle, Manchester, Bristol have already voted. We're hoping, I think, that Coventry or as well as Oxford, I don't know, with Oxford, I think that there might be a situation at hand. But having started the process over the weekend, the culmination will be that on Thursday, inshallah, tujja kuba tugenda mu kalulu akasenguddwa okuva mu 75W radio where it was normally, would be, ne katwalibwa ku neutral ground mu Hackney Marshes, where we will be expected, inshallah, to turn up. Tusobole okuba nti tujjumbira akalulu akagenda okubeera ku lunaku olwokuna. Of course, after Thursday, it means tugenda kuba tufuna obukulembeze obupya. So by next week, inshallah, tujja kuba tufunye obukulembeze obupya obugenda okutwala mu maaso umma yaffe. And after all these many years, after a lot of hurdles, the process has been built. Very beautiful things have happened over that last period. Muwaddemu abasiraamu bennyini okuba nti tusobodde okwegatta, emikolo negikolebwa wamu. Presence y'obusiraamu n'olaba nti musiraamu munnayuganda ebadde erabikira ddala without any shade of doubt. That is a very big achievement that has been done. Bakadde baffe abaatusooka mu mulimo guno gwe baatandika in that QI'DAH process that has eventually led us to where we are at now. Of course, there have been problems, and let there be no doubt. But I think the successes, and considering the fact that we are still standing, it is a much bigger picture, which is the future of the organization. We need to do everything within our means. Okuraba nti we push, we nurture this baby, we carry this baby and take it to the next level. Tumaze okufuna unity, abantu bazza as a community. Hijab now has become a very common feature. Initially, abantu buli omu yayambalanga nga bw'alabye, olusinga awulira tabyebuliramu akyabitya atatyamu. You look at the revolution that has come, not only within the Ugandan community, but generally within the Muslim community in the West, in the UK, and now it's narrowed down to the Muslim community. That really has, brought in a totally different picture that whenever you come in for an event that is our event, you would feel whatever it's fun in Oganti, for example, last I think 2 weeks ago when we went for the UMC youth dinner, you could see the presence of Antu Bazinga, and that really painted a very beautiful picture. Now that hasn't come cheaply. People had to be brought in slowly, encourage them, and then we have a sense of community. And I think at this point in time, it is a celebration that we should actually, have without any fear of contradiction. Okuwanti as a community so want to serve, alhamdulillah. But now there are needs that have come in. Community mu kukula kwayo mu bantu ba members abagenzi bavayo gye baali bekwese bonna kutandika okwekukulayo okubakukulayo okubajjayo okubakukunulayo okubajjayo. Bringing them into the community now meant there has to be a particular level of organization that needs to be in place to be able to address their issues, their concerns. Abaana tuzadde abaana batandise okukula bavubuse. There are issues of marriage now. How do we find suitable partners for these youngsters that are coming in? Initially, we also want to until you find yourself in that particular picture. Then otandika appreciating why it is really important. Being to fatawa is to kwatako specifically na Uganda na Abasilamu living in the West. There are particular peculiarities that actually regard our own situations beyond others. Nolabanti fatawa ezo zijja kuba zirina okubaako engeri gye zisomwamu n'abakenkufu mu nsonga ezo kuzituulamu, and then they pass a ruling or an opinion regarding a particular situation. That is coming into play. How do we deal, for example, with car finance, with insurance, with phones, phones on contracts and so on? These are things, while they have been done internally, how can we deal with that? There are issues over now outside London. While the concentration initially was so much in London, you've had bigger numbers, people moving out. After 15 years in London, we moved up north, and we have a community that is growing now. How do you make sure that these people in the shires are able to still feel a part of the whole? Because whatever Zoom, Allah COVID, which was a benefit. With Zoom where we managed to get, I noticed, Amina, you're talking about my volume dropping. They always tell me I shouldn't move positions because every time I move a little bit, then my volume goes down. I hope it will sustain. But I'm just saying that now you had a huge concentration in London. London. People who are outside could not, would not feel a part, and yet they are part and parcel. Things like Zoom now brought us, and we want now to encourage. While Zoom, we strengthen the Zoom, we need to strengthen our radio, 75W radio. It needs to be there. You need to have it as our own and make sure that we take ownership and do everything that is within our means to empower it, to strengthen it. Come in, listen to the programs, critique the program, say this doesn't feel right on this particular platform. Very welcome. We listen to this, we see how we can improve on that. Unfortunately, abamaze okuba nti aluzinze kubanga nabbi sallallahu alaihi wasallam atugamba nti kullu ibn adam khata wa khairul khata'in at-tawwabun. Buli muntu yenna musobya, and the only musobya asinga okubeera omulungi mu maaso ga Allah yoyayenenya. Acknowledging where you have gone wrong, admitting to that, but also now finding ways to correct that, providing corrective measures that would allow the community to move on. So Tugenze Mushayas now gone out into the counties. When you have communities like that, how can you have their representation in? Now, the only way you can say, but now we also need to elect their delegates who are representing these particular regions, north, east, south, like that. By the central committee, they become a part and parcel of the bigger, UMC executive. That cannot be implemented until we have elections, because these are part of the suggestions that have been brought. Implemented when you have a team that actually provided an election date under duress. They have overstayed, they are not calling elections. What are they trying to avoid? And they put an electoral commission, which has set an electoral date. The only way we can start having change is when we have a new team that will come with a new mandate. There are particular things that are embedded within our own constitution that cannot allow the changes that we want to happen because the impediment is the constitution. You cannot have a constitutional review with a team whose time has expired. And therefore you need also a term with a new mandate, and then you can start building it. For those who have just joined for the first time, in a very global community conversation, there is not one person who is coming to start talking down at people. No, ours here is free. We speak our minds, but respectfully, with dignity and keeping it within the confines of Siram. This is the difference about this program. This is Come, Let's Talk with me, Kassim Kayira, tonight, and we are streaming live on 75 W Radio. We are also streaming live on Ummah Connect, on Zoom, on Facebook, on YouTube, and logging in now on Instagram. So tonight, inshallah, what should the shape of UMC in the future look like? What sort of UMC do you want to see? What should we do? Because these programs are recorded, they are going to become a part and parcel of the record of what the next government is going to be doing. I can see some of the candidates, alhamdulillah, who have logged in. I'm sure they will be listening. They might have a view, and therefore that will be critical. Just for purposes of recognition, please make sure you log in as yourself. I can see someone who has just logged in as Zoom user. Please, once you come in, put your name. Let's just get to know who is who, so that then as part of our conversation, at least it will help guide the conversation as to where we take it. Just to be clear, tonight's program is the future of UMC. We just want to see what should we do within our means to ensure the DHU'L for UMC goes forward. Well, I'll open the microphones now for you. Welcome very much. Let's have the conversation. We are looking at the future of UMC. Many of us work in different departments. There might be particular experiences, things that you see that have worked where you are, that you think would work with UMC. Those would be very, very welcome for us to listen as part of our conversation tonight. I can only take this opportunity to welcome you again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If you've just joined us, just to remind you, we are asking, what should UMC do? What should be the first priority that the cabinet that comes in place actually concentrates on? What shall we be judging them in the first 100 days, which are very critical in any election? The first 100 days, which are the 3 months that precede an election, you want to see some action. What would you want to see happening on the ground? So let's just open the conversation now so that we can get talking. Like I said, what your topic name off limits, we only do it decently with respect. And we are looking at the future of UMC, not the past. We are looking at the future of UMC. What can we do? What needs to be done to ensure that we get this situation better? Well, I can see the incoming chairman, Dr. Sulaiman Suruga, is already on. I can see several candidates actually who are already on. I've seen Hajati Amina Kenya. I can see you are there. I've seen Hajati Ziada of UMC Manchester. Please, Zoom user, can you rename your use, please, and put a name there. We need to have a clear name. And so is FK as well, if you can, please. All right, I opened the conversation and we're trying to look at the future of UMC. Where do we go from here? Given where we have been, alhamdulillah. And the way we do it, you can just raise your hand and then we can listen to you. Tofayo, Uganda, Munyankore, English is all welcome, considering the strength or the power of what we intend to be generating tonight. 21 minutes past 8 o'clock in UK. First hand was Mr. Umar, who just joined and comes in straight away. Umar, please unmute yourself and then I'll come to Dr. Nsubuga. Umar, you can unmute yourself, please. Umar, your hand is up. All right.
Hello.
Naam, hello, Umar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sanyuse nnyo bana okubawulizaako aba Dabi Radio. I think today is the first time nange okugenda ku mpewo n'embeera nti nakukyenteesa.
Tusanyuse okulaba ssebo.
Ssebo bwana Kayira weebale byonna kuweereza.
Amiina ssebo.
omubabiro mungi ku Uganda Muslim Supreme Council via elections.
Uganda Muslim community.
Anti ffe tukiri confusing as Supreme Council naye nga
yes.
Ndowooza nti kyandibadde kirungi ne tutambulira we tuli ne watabeerawo nnyo nkaayana nnyingi. Abamu baga nti okulonda tekubeerawo, okulonda kubeerewo naye jasi wabeerewo ebintu biwandiikibwa wansi abantu babeere nga babimanya, roles and responsibilities ez'abakulembeze abajja.
Mwami Umar Ssebo nga sikusaze kirimi webale kubanga ensonga ndooza oyina woyingidde enkulabye woyingiridde awo usanze introduction nabwe ngitandiseeko. Ensonga lwaki nagaye nti omulamwa gwa leero twagala tulabe the future bye tuvuddemu bye tuyiseemu byonna tubirabye naye twagala tuteme empenda kaakati. N'ekirala n'abantu abadde basinga obungi abadde bagaa nti bino bisooke bibeerewo. Mwattu ogenda okwetegereza mu mateeka agatufuga tebisobola kubeerawo ku mbeera zibaddewo nga tewaliwo mandate empya. Mukama wange genda mu maaso.
Kituufu nnyo. Kaakati nze ku embeera nga gye mmanyi embeera zaffe ez'obusiraamu, abantu baffe tebatera nnyo okubeera bajjumbize. Abantu abadde mu kakiiko kano bamyaka emeka oba emeka nze sifuddeeyo nnyo, balabika bayina obujjumbize n'okulumirirwa kwe babadde balaga eri community. So nze nsuubira nti mu mbeera gye kirimu tulonde tujjuze ebifo ebiriwo naye wabeerewo okwongerawo obwerufu n'okumanyisibwa biki ebirina okukolebwa, ani akola ki, activities eyongera obungi. Kati nze ndi wa East London naye etwale lya East London ne Manchester bamiitinga ddi, especially younger generation. Uganda Muslim community kiki tuyinza okupulaningira younger generation, abaana baffe during holiday time. Uganda Muslim community tulina activities. Ndowooza nti abantu abajja mu bifo ebijja balowooze nnyo kuteeka essira ku younger generation, abaana be tulina, n'okwongera okwasaganya okubeera obumu nga Muslim community at large. Naye nze nsaba tugende mu maaso n'okulonda ebifo tubijjuze. Obviously abantu bajja kuba ensobi zibaddewo buli kimu kyonna, naye we can go from there. Nze ndaba tusobola okugenda mu maaso from there. Saa kusukkawo nnyo mwana Kayira awo.
Barakallahu Ssebo ojjidde ddala ate n'osigala ku mulamwa n'owooma nnyo Ssebo neeyanziza mu subhanahu wa ta'ala akuwa ekisinga obulungi. Basically kino kiba tugambako nti ebintu ebisinga wano ekitasoboka kiri bwekireka nsooke maybe mpainting picture eri abatuwuliriza basooke bamanye wawe tuli na lwaki mu mbeera n'obugubi bwonna obuliwo tugenda mu maaso n'okugamba. Constitution yaffe mandate eriwo, tiimu emazeeko emyaka 13 ebadde eriwo. Akalulu kano kagenda okubaawo nga kavudde mu kkerere y'ekitalo ennyo ng'abantu tuli banyiivu tugaa lwaki okulonda tekubeerawo, lwaki biruddewo. Under that pressure cabinet eriko ne creating electoral commission. Electoral commission eweewo obuyinza obubeera okuba nti egenda okuteeka akalulu. Ekintu bwana Umaru kyoyogeddeko ekibadde ekikunya, abantu baffe batambulira nnyo ku lastminute.com, which is a big problem. Barangira ne bagamba nti kulonda kugenda kubeera bwekuti nominations ne zitandika. People waited until time ya nomination emala okuggwako. Olabira ate abavaayo emisinde ne bajja nga n'okkaayana bakaayana ate nomination eyongezebweyo. This is unfortunately a cultural thing ebadde mu mbeera zaffe zetulina okukyusa mu nkola y'ebintu. There is no way you can do what you have been doing and expect to get something different. You will still get what you have got if you do what you have been doing. Methods of work zirina okukyuka. But the only way now, bw'ekiba nti cabinet eri yaleeta akalulu kagenda okubeerawo, waliwo ebintu ebirina okukyuka. Part of it mulimu constitution. Constitution yaffe erina okukyuka. Constitution yaffe, actually tulina constitutions kumpi 2-3 ezikoonagana mu bintu ebimu ebirimu byesijja kugendamu. Abantu bangi babadde bagisaba bagamba bati naye bw'ogenda ku commission n'olaba namba yaffe, you would be able to see the constitution. Naye njagala okulaba ate waliwo various versions ez'eyo constitution. Kati nga mulimu ebintu ebikontana by'ojja okulaba nti bijja kusobola ku implementing a change. And the only way you can do that is with the mandate. Tiimu ebadde eriko given obuwanvu bw'emyaka egibadde giyiseewo, it would be impossible or hard for them to implement, especially considering people were suspicious already of their long stay. But you needed to have a team that would be able to have a new mandate. On the basis of that new mandate, yensonga lwaki tonight's program is actually very important, because we are laying out and saying, UMC, we are getting a new team. New team again, many of them are already on here. These are the things that people want. kati bwana umara amaze tuwolede ensonga esooka gyagambye okubaako wetutandika concentrating on youth events kati nga sports. For example, we are supposed to go to Covent for the 18th of June, inshallah. That is one way, but it's not enough. Sports day is there a way that we can create that? Manchester candidates are valuable. I think during the interventions, I think was it on Sunday, one of the candidates spoke. Nagamba to funding. There can be funding from government regarding such things. Because we didn't know the capacity that we have. It is amazing how much of a community we have built. Twin our scientists, twin our forensic scientists, twin our biomedics, twin our nurses, twin our doctors, twin our teachers. We have almost people in all professions. And I think it is time now to try to see how do we start tapping into these resources that we have for the benefit of our community. And one way is having these conversations. Dr. Suleiman, but I see it's out. I can see Manchester. I'll go to Manchester and then I'll come. Okay. UMC Manchester. Yes, please. Assalamu alaikum. Oh, you're welcome.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi.
Ne anziza nyo sebo kumpo mukisa guno kwogerako namwe ne okuwa my suggestions about the future of UMC. Nze kulwange nga DHU'L mbadde ndowooza nti yes, we are voting, people are voting, they need change and so on and so forth. However, cabinet ebaddewo serving for so many years, more than 10 years. And they have built this. They know the in and outs of UMC UK. They have done really a tremendous job. But then suggesting eranga mbasaba bakulu baffe ne bakadde baffe ababaddewo. I mean, because cabinet empieja, to me, but then suggesting until they should not leave, as in like bagamenti chairman yomupyaze oba vice aze emirimu ejange juwedde. That's the end of the story. Omuntu eyatandika kino ekintu n'okubeera time gye bamazeemu ne connections ze balina, I mean the ground they have built and the ins and outs of UMC. I think bandibadde badda ku side nga ba advisors baffe ne babeera nga batuwa amagezi in different situations, ne babeera nga bakwataganyiza wamu n'abaana ababayiseemu akakiiko akapya okubeera nga bongera okuzimba UMC. Because I have analyzed this and the way it looks like, it's kind of like, I mean, people are on the side of bagenda, and that's the end of it. Nze mbadde nsaba ku lwange basobole okubeera nga basigala wamu n'akakiiko akapya nga bawa amagezi, nga bawabula, nga bagaidinga and things like that. That was my request and suggestion. Ekyokubiri, I mean, to campaigning nze nange mwennyini campaigning nze and so on. Tulina abakyala abasitandi nze. You've talked about the issue of youth. Naye mbadde mu UMC Manchester, mbadde mu community affe Manchester and so on, and the whole of UK really. However, sinnaba kuwulirayo muntu yenna oba UMC eleeta issue ya career guidance. Nze nga nze abadde mu education for a long time and on the side of professionalism, tulina problem enene nnyo. I mean, mu community oba mu UK, we are foreigners, tuzadde abaana nange ndi maama, naye abaana baffe they are lost. I mean, people have campaigned, yes, which is good, but then I've not heard anyone saying, yes, bagenda bayigiza cultural way of things and stuff like that. Naye tetulaba kufunayo omuntu who is standing to say yes. Abaana bano njagala tuba guiding on the side of education. Abaana baffe bali so less on the side of education. Right from assignments, right from universities, tebamanyi kiki akuchuzinga, tebamanyi courses za kukola, oli akola ekintu lwakuba ne munnanga akikola, lwakuba ne, I mean things like that, but not then.
Waliwo ekiva mu busobozi bw'abazadde. Wakati omuzadde nnyinza okuba nti okusoma kwange saasobola kugenda mu maaso nnyo okusobola na kuyamba mwana. Nalwo otunulira ng'omuzadde ne basindikaho omuwaga n'okuba kw'endiiso. Kayira yali yekweka master nasa mu kumala kuzze n'ogamba nti bakuweereza assignment kati mwana ogenda muyamba homework n'olaba nga wootandikira tolabawo. How do you deal with that?
Auntie Kati, in this situation, Sheki, this is when UMC comes in, nga committee. I mean, to me, I would suggest aba UMC, aba Bera Bazeko, whichever cabinet it is, they should form a career guidance department for the children. Baberenga batadewo committee eyaba professionals who are going to help these children. Omwana amanya, oba mama na amanya nti nze eno side siyange, njigirize empisa, njigirize okufumba, njigirize things like that. However, on the side of education, I cannot do it. Where do I turn to? Nina UMC, which is a Muslim community, which is a charity, I mean, which is for Ugandans, tulibana Uganda, tulumirirwa abaana bonna nga betuzaala. So, omuzadde ajagamba nti yes, sisobola kweyamba, oluzungu sirumanyi, sasoma kimala. However, UMC ina abantu abasobola okunyambira omwana wange. Ajja kuba essimu, whereby this has got to be treated with professionalism. Bwe tuba tulina policies and procedures that following. Netumanya nti UMC, we've done this, I mean, we've built policies in Manchester. Netumanya nti UMC ina, for example, GDPR policy. We know how to keep data. We know how to keep confidentiality.
What is GDPR?
That is the General Data Protection legislation here. Netumanya
nti speed.
Okay, kati netutegeera nti Kayira yes ayina abaana. He cannot read, he cannot write, he cannot understand kiki ekiri ku university, kiki ekigenda maaso. Kati sijja ajja kubira UMC. Akakiiko ako tekajja kutandika kagamba munnange otegedde ekiri ewa Kayira, kiri bwe kiti ne bwe kiti, abaana bali bwe bati. Things like that, no, they are not called for. I think we should look at mentoring these children, building the future, building the career for these children. Omuzadde ajje ayogene naawe, ogende mulabe mwenga akakiiko omwana ono ayinawo obuzibu, how do you contact the teachers, omwana kiki yeetaaga, because abaana baffe nze kyendabye mu community bayina bonga bo what they want, I mean what they feel. To do a course you have to feel it. Abazadde abasinga bafosinga abaana ku course. Oyina okuba omusawo, oyina okuba omusawo, oyina okuba kino. I mean omwana wo asobola fine art or amagezi ga fine art. Look at the courses. No, I'm not abusing anyone, Sheikh.
No.
Nayenga omwana okusinzira ku byabadde akola mu class. Aza building era kwekyo. We have tried tukoze coaching and this omwana tajja kusobola busawo.
Leka nkubuuza akabuuzo bakati anti ndabe emikono gitandise okujja saagala ku breaking through. Sorry, okay. Train of thought yo obutakyuka. Leka mbuuze kano maybe kagaidinge how you direct us into this. Format yeno gy'ogambye ya career guidance. Do we do it as a fete? Universities where open day. Do we do it as a hotline where someone has a dedicated number that can be rung on? How do we make it work? Especially in Manchester. As Manchester, it is easy because you are all in Manchester.
Yeah.
But then in East London, in Newcastle, Manchester. How about someone in Scarborough? How about someone in Dublin? How about someone in Dundalk, in Ireland, and part of the community? I'll come to you. I just wanted
okay, to me, I think the way we need to do it is first and foremost, we need to form a cabinet out of UMC. See UMC Ndala. A task force. Where we know that this is a department. Okay, let's call it a department. Right. This is a department for career guidance, UMC UK career guidance. So your department ejja kukola WhatsApp group. Okitegedde. Bwe banakola WhatsApp group basobola okufuna email address just for UMC career guidance and so forth and so on. Where abantu bayina emails. Bayinza okuweereza email oba abantu bayinza okuwawayo ne bagamba nti eno department eriko gundi ne gundi ne gundi essimu zaffe ziizino omwana asobola okukubira kuba abaana abamu batyo okugamba abazadde nti kino kigaanyi ndi mu university naye sisoma nina obuzibu bwe buti. So basobola okuba ne WhatsApp group eyo team esobola okuba ne email address. They can give their phone numbers out where a child can call you. Nebo bali stuck on assignment. Nagamba naguden assignment and so on. I need help. You schedule a meeting according to your schedule, and you go through with the child or with the parent. I think we can do it in that case.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Hajat Ziada in Manchester. brilliant conversation, Jota, and say, Amina, I'll come to you simply because FK, I know your hand was up earlier. Maybe Amina Wadaga corresponding to Ziada, and therefore I'll just allow her and then come back to you. And while Amina is getting ready, a quick message here from Ida in the chat room. Remember, maybe you can just text your message, send your message, and we will read it out, inshallah. Message from Ida saying, one second, apologies. Yeah, message from Ida. Community, very true. Our community, they don't even attend Zoom. So, I feel sorry for the Electoral Commission. Work again. Yes, Amina, go ahead, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi.
Tweyanza nnyo byonna Sheikh ne ba participants abali ku mukutu. Thank you so much. Buli omu ayogedde bambi. Kati mara nziraga kwogera ku kya Sister Ziada kitayogeddeko. It's very important. I think she has elaborated about career development and support. That is a very big issue in our community. Now, I think she explains it very well how we are going to tackle that on a low level. Like each DHU'L has to create a representative to run these hubs, and they have to be continuous. They have to be weekly, monthly, and annually. They have to be going. Anyway, she has explained that very well. Another point that I wanted to point at, we know we've got our candidates, the Nabachala, is it Nabachala? Yes, I think Women's Affairs. When we were listening yesterday about their manifesto, they talked about, girls getting married, boys finding women, which is very important to our community. But I haven't seen anybody in this community who is trying to keep people married. People are easy to find partners and they get married. After 6 months down the line, they are done. They've had enough and they separate. However, counseling they get, sometimes it's quite late. I felt like we should find people or a group of women or husbands, or I don't know what I should term it as, but we need people that are going to mentor these youngsters or married couples how to stay married on a regular basis, because in this country, marriage is a job. It's another job, to be honest, which needs to be reviewed, which needs to be.
Yes, then Amina, it has to be people that are exemplary. Marriage counselor. When your own home has broken,
no, of course not.
Yes,
of course not. We need people that are in the field, that they're going to be able to mentor these guys who are already married. They might be struggling. They might not even be struggling, because you don't need to struggle to have issues in your marriage. You just need to be aware that there is someone that I can speak to if I'm sensing some misunderstanding or some discomfort in my marriage. I think a community without marriage is not a community, really. So we need people to be married and to stay married.
Absolutely. So I think that's really, I hope that is taken as a note for the incoming administration. We have to find a way of making sure we don't only find husbands and wives, but we also try to see how to sustain marriages. Amina, on that one, actually, how you've said we would find people who might be able to provide that kind of support. Support here ends up taking a shape, because probably, we have social workers in the conversation. They might be able to participate in the I think we would need to sort of see how can it be put into practice just at a practical level. So couples one of the things about whatever the next thing becomes very, very difficult.
Exactly. I think you should start with the people babajira. Let's say we're matching up together, to follow them up, just to come for a cup of tea. How are you doing? How is everything? You can talk to me. That reassurance, because we don't have that touch in our community. It's easy to get things going, but as things are going, nobody checks on you. everyone assumes things are going well.
We should be okay.
Kakati, it has to start from the beginning.
Well,
Then
part of the recommendation that has come in quite often, but they are Gambanti tufunenga abatali basilamu banaffe abenzikiriza ddala Catholics. Ngabantu banafumbira basooka ne bafuna counseling that takes a bit of time.
Yeah.
Too. And I think it is time that probably we get ourselves out of and then because and you'll find that girls get taught and helped, but then you find that the boys, honestly, they are coming, totally out of the blue. And maybe and the pressures of work, then even the divide actually widens even a lot more. I'll be hoping to hear from more people. Let's just open up the conversation. Thank you very much, Amina. The chat room is actually getting absolutely heated up. With Farida says when it comes to marriage, really, there's no one size fits all. Chefs have done a great job reminding us of the values of marriage. Foundation marriage, matters a lot. M says, but there's no private and confidential in our leaders, which is too sad. I think that is another thing that actually UMC now, flagging to the chefs as well, because when someone comes and confides in you, and the next thing they find their secret is already out there, I think it actually destroys the whole concept of why it was there in the first place. FK, I know you have been waiting so long, and then I'll come to Dr. Nsubuga.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Anyono FK.
Amanya Fahad Kabubi nga sinzidde Buckinghamshire.
Barakallahu
fikum. Ngenda straight ku mulamwa.
No.
Eyo egamba nti what should the new leadership do?
Yes.
My honest opinion egamba nti leadership empya, they need to get out of their comfort zone. Ate ne leadership enkadde, in my opinion, yandibadde edde bali because they've done what they've done. Naye mukudde bali nga tebaviira ddala ku mirimu badde bali banacharinge.
Bagaidinge
leadership because wotunulira situations mwe babadde leadership ze bayisemu emyaka za njawulo ziyinza okuba nga zibadde more challenging oba less challenging.
Absolutely no.
Eneddako tetumanyi situations ze bagenda kubeera ziyinza okubeera more challenging or less challenging, naye kyemmanyi bombi balina okukwataganyira ewamu. Nga youth kyenyinza okugamba, abasiraamu abazadde abasinga bazadde abaana bangi balesa abaana bangi okuva e Uganda. So there is more youth kweno generation than generation enkadde. Ate by youth nze bendabanga abasobola okutwala UMC emaaso. Nagambye nti balina getting out of their comfort zone. Nze sinnawulirako ku Zoom conference embaddeko nga bano ba leadership abagamba abajja nga bagamba nti bannaye nze ngenda kubanga nyongeza interaction oba ngenda kukwatanga ekkubo ngende nnoonye etwala eryegundi etwala eryeno to bridging oba ab'e London n'ab'e Manchester oba ab'e Bristol twogeremu tulabe ebizibu byabwe because abantu abeesimbyewo abamu obwedde owulira nga abantu boogera bye babadde bakola oba bye bagenda okukola naye nga babikolera community gye balimu.
Nekibanga sinaba kutekinga national
ndwawo okuwulira kubanga ne Ireland eriyo Northern Ireland eriyo bannayuganda. Naye tewulira muntu agamba nti ngenda kulinnya ennyonyi ngende Northern Ireland nkuba abantu okukitegeera mpulira ebizibu byabwe.
Part of the issue, especially at the point Joe raises, is the fact that one, charity of Ireland, which I've done several times. I've been there more than 3-4 times, an entire weekend and so on. Takes commitment. Ticket or whatever. As our charity UMC, can we create viability of no Ireland Ireland? The money comes from the pocket of UMC. We just say there is a procedure, there is a process. You have a treasurer, requisition. you have a process that has to be followed with guidelines. Facilitated. Just I wanted to point out that, for example, on Sunday when we were having the electoral commission, there was the conversation we were having an hour. One of the things that one of the sheikhs came here was that position you know what? How are we helping the sheikhs? Where are we placing them in the equation? Where are they? Are they part of the equilibrium or what? And these are critical questions. These are questions that are happening in the background, but conversations that we should be having, which I think is very good that tonight we are actually having that conversation. Fahad, your point is absolutely taken. Plug it, please, and then I'll move on to.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Nature anti sometimes ebbanga lyemaze ku Zoom owulira nga bamaseeka bagamba twagala kuleeta Seeko okuva e Uganda tumuteekemu ssente tiketi biki byonna. But nze kye ngamba mbu leadership yeetaaga abantu okusinga abantu we beetaaga ba leader. W'omanya nti abantu b'enkulembera tebalowooza nti omuntu yeetaaga tiketi yeetaaga kigwayino kibateekamu. Ofuna kati ng'amatwale mangi oyogera n'ettwale lya oba Manchester n'obagamba bannaye ffe baliida ba UMC twagala kujjayo twogereko n'abantu, can you please arrange? Oyo kennyini owe yetwale n'akunga abantu because leadership ejja kwogera naye. But in the long term buli bagendayo ne boogera n'abantu babagamba bannaye UMC twetaaga eggwanika lya ssente nti we need people kubanga bannaye muleeta contribution naye webanga monthly oba oluvannyuma myezi 3 omuntu aleetayo £5 n'omanya abantu b'okulembera obusobozi bwe basobola. Naye the key thing is ab'amatwale kukunga ab'amatwale bakolaganyire wamu oba okitegeera. Ate n'ekyendabye ku generation enkadde as an example nti sinza agamba mbabadde too over comfortable naye n'emyaka ani agenda okukwata nga avuga olugendo lwa 6 hours 7 hours okuva mu London agende paka egundi e Scotland oba okitegeera okukunga abantu. Few people are going to do that. Naye tulina abaana abali energetic abakyali ba youth oba okitegeera abagenda okusobola okukola ebyo ebintu oba bayinza okuba nga they can get on a plane. Ate n'ekyokulala the older the people are the more responsibility they're going to get oba okitegeera abaana issues baba ne family issues e Uganda oba wano. So kyenyinza okugamba when I'm summarizing nti the new leadership they need to get out of their comfort zone. Bamanye abantu be bakulembera issues zaabwe ne mentality yaabwe. Olaba Pakistan community, Indian community, they even have a list ogenda ku music gyabwe balina list y'abantu baabwe n'omanya nti ono muntu avuga kaabu ab'amatwale they need to have these lists. Bamanye nti woba oyagala omuntu akutwala ku airport the first point of person yono, woba oyagala makanika yono, woba oyagala omuntu okuyamba ku muwala wo okuyiga bannaye engeri gye bamutendekamu obwana omulenzi yono, because ddala abavubuka b'ennaku zino bafuna challenge. Otuuka okwagala okuwasa naye omwana gozza okuwasa literally because ba parents bamuteeseteese you have to be successful financially, soma tebamuteeseteese mu bufumbo eyo okuteekateeka bakumuwa a few hours a few days to marriage. Omwana agenda okubeera obufumbo it's a lifelong program.
But I'll just stop you there or simply because of time, so including I think Amina Amba puts it, Biragwa puts it very well, says I think we're gonna need to stay till midnight because this is a hot topic. But no, we won't be staying till midnight. Fad, whoever they know your points actually noted, very fantastically put. I hope now those listening as a community, it's our responsibility to see how we can make this a success. Dr. Nsubuga, welcome.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Mungu wabakiriza oli mukutekinga over a month of lunaku olwokuna after Thursday okuba nti gwogenda okwetika omugugu omuzito guno bijjira mukadde akalimu gye tuvudde yenna ate ne gye tulaga. And every situation is different. Definitely you are coming to deal with a new sort of force, but a new mandate, which is also very important. Mandate is very, very important because once you have that, you have it in your power. Go ahead, please.
Now, first of all, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us this opportunity to be here this evening And we thank you for coordinating this important topic, which is well needed in our community. Bannange mwenna abaliko nammwe mbeebaza okuba nti weemuli olwaleero. Obutamala budde kirungi nnyo okuba nti twogera ku nsonga zino. Era nga point ebadde enkulu nga gye wagambye osookera ddala leadership ejja kiddala ekikulu kirina okutunuulibwa. Nze ku lwange byekufaanaganyeeko n'ebyo bannange boogeddeko naye nga nnyinza okukozesa gundi subtitles maybe is different. Nga ekisookera ddala tukozese gundi kyetwandiise listening exercise. Listening exercise ng'eno mulimu ne transition time oba transition period eya komite enkadde okuba nti eyamba komite empya kubanga waliwo some documentations, waliwo some projects, waliwo ebintu ebibadde bigenda maaso nga mulina okuba nti mukwatagana mwembi okuba nti mutambuza ebintu ebyo. Kubanga UMC nga UMC si kintu nti it's an individual entity. This is a community, oba ebintu ekyawamu nga kiri wamu nga ffe bannayuganda kye tulina okuba nti tukitambuza. Kati foundation is already there. Really, kiringa wanoga nti ennyumba weeri ebadde ezimbiddwa naye kati gundi ebadde etuuseba ku slab kati tugenda kutandikako okuteekako slab. Kati gundi eno weevuddeko then gundi endala eddako neba ng'eyongerako. So that's how communities grow, or that's how charities was developing. Kati kiriwo nti bano abazze bapya kati bagenda kukola byabwe ate n'abakadde baade bakola byabwe. No, this is just kukwatiriza awamu as a teamwork ne tugenda maaso n'okukola ebibadde bina okukolebwa. Kubanga kati constitution nga bwogambye ziweerawera waliwo eno eya mukulu Kavulu Allah tumusaba amusaasire gyali mwami oyo yakola nga 15 March 2020. Ekulaga bulungi nnyo aims, objectives, what was achieved, what was challenges ne failures or something of that kind. Kati buli muntu wagifunako copy at least ng'eri empya tennajja, then omanya wa UMC webadde, omanya wa UMC weeri, n'omanya ne wa UMC gyegenda maaso. Then point ya listening exercise era nga munnange bwagambye avuddeko okulaba nti gundi eno empya eyita mu matwale, eyita mu bantu nebabuuza what they expect from the leadership oba what their needs are. Nebibanga biteekebwa bulungi mu document ne tubanga tubitunulamu ne tufuna solutions how we can achieve.
Ownership. Kubanga abantu bewa nti babadde consulted. If it is a consultative process, abantu bafeeding nti they have been consulted and feel empowered. Yes. Input here yagenze mu final document that we have.
Yes.
But of course, mu myaka egiwedde ng'egyo mwalimu just okusobola okukola ekintu ekyamangu probably for registration purposes nosanga nti consultation eba tebaddeewo. Naye n'ekirala tetulina okusaba abantu baffe. Bannange olaba kati tuli mu a very important discussion for our community. We are only 42 people. There are people probably elsewhere missing out on a conversation again determining the journey that we want to cut out. That is a problem because is an issue that has been submitted and addressed here. Dr. Suleiman Genda Masu, because I just really wanted to outline that in the process and get your ownership is participation. Abantu baberewo bawulirize bagane bawakanye and then a listening ear gaji. Go ahead, please.
Yes. Kati pozi n'ekirala communication yaki communication yaffe n'abantu betuba nabo kati era again wotula vision statement egamba nti tubeere ne community eri well informed. Then community okubeera well informed tulina okukozesa technology kati nga 75 DHU'L radio it can be ebeerako almost 24 hours I could guess, right? Kati omuntu abatafunye message misana asogifuna ekiro asogifuna akawungezi kati nebange kozesebwa for our community kind of mouth voicing, you see. At national abantu balina emails abantu balina gundi WhatsApp oba any way you can reach them netuma tulina kind of a news update never weekly. Tulina zooms ku zooms zino zetukola at the end of it netugana nti buli lunaku sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, mbadde ndowooza nvuddeko. Yes, kati ku Zoom ezo tuba tufunayo ba 15 minutes ebanga update okuva ku twala erya gundi oba waliwo omwana ayagala okufumbirwa, waliwo omwana ayagala okuwasa, oba waliwo gundi ebinonge bya careers eby'abaana okubayambako okufuna gundi eby'amasomero oba ebyo eby'emirimu nga tulinawo that 15 minute slot update, you know, on the continuous kind of, you know, approach. Kati mpozi n'ekirala ekyogerwako ennyo kyetwandise nga DHU'L. DHU'L eno yeetaagisa nnyo ate nga tukisobola. Treasury. Yes. Kati abantu abasinga bonna bali mu professionals nga bwe tulowooza kati balina gundi membership ze basasula ku professions association. Naffe tusobola okubeerawo ne UMC membership fee. Niwe ziba pound bbiri. That at the end, that's a lot of money. Kati ne ziba nga ziyambako nga ekyayimaamu kyogambye ekyabuuziza ekyabamasheki. Bamasheki wano nze n'omuzikiti gwendabirira wano, omuzikiti nze bamasheki ze mbasasula, naye nga tubasasula buli bajja ku Juma ne baba nga bagenda ne baba nga bafunye sente zaabwe. It's really simple. It's just having an organized kind of approach. Ebintu ne bikolebwa. Ate abantu bamanyani gwe bawa sente nga waliwo trustworthy, waliwo honest. Abantu they are willing to pay. Abantu abasinga wano ffenna balina amayumba e Uganda. Naye kijja kita nti for 30 years, 40 years, tetuna ka single place where Uganda, you know, kafo cafe in South London, for example. Ate nga nambe singa tugambe nti administration eri mu South London. Waba waliwo gap between abawaayo nga waliwo maybe ekibaganya okuwaayo. Naye nga people they can really afford, or what people they can finance this kind of centers. Ate nga tuba tuna center kituyambako mu by'abaana bye twogerako, by'abakyala, ebyo byonna okuba nti tubitwala. Streatham Somalia bazze for the last 10-15 years. The whole Streatham now is like, how do you call it? Mogadishu. Now you look, even Kisenyi for the last 10 years is now Somalians. You know, the whole, the masjid is single, Somalia. These things can be done. Nayenga abantu waliwo respect entuufu, waliwo honesty entuufu, waliwo obwerufu. I think that's the right word for Uganda. Obwerufu obwo nga weebuli.
Dr. Webalinyo, ngenda kukomyawo just to allow more people to come in. Fantastic presentation. Barakallahu fikum. Kizze bulungi nnyo era kitegeerekese. I think we can start seeing a sort of a direction. Kubanga tikyembadde nga nti time eno as a community tulina opportunity that is absolutely big. That there is this need, there is this want. Abantu baagala, and okwagala kuno kulina okubeera fed. There is no way you can live. Buli obeera neeyo n'okwagala, you need to feed that hunger. And this is yenkaramata n'okukinywesa. And the only way now we can do that is with a new mandate, inshallah. That should open up opportunities and we can start getting to see what we can do. If you've just joined us, this is Come. Let's Talk with me, Kassim, Kayira. You are live on 75W Radio, live streaming on Umma Connect on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Zoom where we are at the moment. Now?
Terera, towenyenya terera. Tukolera lwasa disappearing aso.
Ngoyogerera kumanyi gano kizibu nnyo. Wendi
neta ne messages ziri mu chat room awo badde bagamba Sheikh buli mwa moving edogo ziri disappearing.
Ya Rabbil Alamin. Ogulaika kati UMC no guro muzinda. Wendy, you have the mic please. In the meantime go just Sheikh Awea, and I see a message from Wendy Gabuwe Sumurura.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Some people yes. Then Mawanda says, Ahmed Mawanda says, that is very true, Sister Farida. I think we have last minute kubuguma. That is regarding people who didn't top on the agenda for South Tware. We need a center, and we have been trying for over 25 years. It's sad that we haven't managed to do that. That is from Tunzi. Wendy, please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And so kwebaza abali ku mukutu aba participants mwenna na Sheikh Kayira okututeerawo program eno okuwendowooza zaffe nga tuyina chance naye nga byonna nze kyendaba bino byonna to make it work okuwa abantu chance ne mubawuliriza ne bawa endowooza yabwe ne mugiteekako ne mugiteesa ne mubabuulira is doable oba it's not doable ne mubawa reason why it's not doable naye ne mutagibulunga oba ne mutagibikka. Once you listen to people everything will be doable. Naye kasita mbanga temubawuliriza ne muga kino kye twasalawo bino byonna tuli mu kuzanya. That's all I say. You should listen okuviira ddala ku muntu wa wansi.
Obutawuliriza bwendi obuzibu buvaawa mputu kweyagala oba kwebatiza kumanya
being bossy. Right. Simple, pure simple, being bossy.
So we need to listen. The new administration now needs to be able to listen.
That's it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Chafa on, I'm coming to you. Message again from Chitunzi here. I'm fully behind our new chairman, and we need to get so many Muslims who gave up on community issues with simply because they were not happy with how things were being done. All right, Chafa, please unmute yourself. Chafa.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Manya Kawe Mustafa Ahmed wa Manchester. Chafa yali kusema yange sorry then me okuchusa so people can identify me. Shaka sawa mwebale abasiramu n'amba musita.
Wa alaikum salam.
Njogere mu Uganda babatali kujja nga
no problem at all. Olwairo twakitadde tusobole okuba tukyabya ddala.
Babulunyi nga nkyogera mu Uganda. Kakati ensonga esooka waliwo kakuuta bakava mu simu yange simanyi.
Esimu ya Kiwa yabeera koonako
muting essebo. Nsaba Sheikh.
Okay, so genda mu maaso.
Ensonga ziringa 3 ze njagala okwefasayizinga. Ensonga nnyingi ez'okwongerako naye zino 3 waliwo abazikonyeeko. Njagala nange ziteekeko obuzito bwange. Challenge gye tubadde nayo ku administration evaako nti ebadde too London centric. Tulwanye ffe twatandika community wane Manchester emyaka nga 14 egiyise naye omu ku buzibu twasanga ye recognition okuva mu bakulembeze baffe London. Twatandika ekibiina nga tetubeebuuzizaako ne tumobilizing abantu ne tubasitula ne tubatwala ne tukoze community e Manchester. Naye ebbanga lyonna lye twamala mu kulembeze nga tulwana okubeera recognized ng'abasiraamu abali part of the community. N'olwekyo abakulembeze abajja njagala mukitegeere nti it is not about numbers. Ne bwabeeranga omusiraamu ali omu e Sheffield ng'ayagala okubeera part of the community mumulage nti mumurecognizing nti gyali era mukole effort yemuintegrating mu community. Tukimanyi nti amatwale Yesu agali mu London yana ge gasingamu abasiraamu abangi. Naye oyinza okusanga productivity oluusi teva ku numbers. Oyinza okusanga abasiraamu olina abasiraamu basatu Newcastle Sheikh Kassim gyali naye nga in terms of basobola okukola contribution esinga n'abasiraamu 10 abali mu North. Sigamba nti gino walinga abangi tulina abatono ngamba nti abasiraamu tubawe equal recognition bwe babanga bakoze effort okutwegattako to make sure nti tubatwala tubaadoptinga ate ne tubalaga nti mu butuufu tuli happy for their effort. Akati ekyo kikulu. Then engagement, community engagement nti gundi yaffe community yaffe yeetaaga okubeera mu engaging. Twetaaga more activities involving our members. Yes, tulinawo emizannyo gy'emipiira tulinawo n'empaka za kurandoza ebintu bibiri ebibadde bisinga oluusi ne fundraising. Naye twetaaga okubeera a little bit more creative tukole activities ezisukka ku ezo. The more you engage people, the more they will come to you, the more they will participate, and the participation in a more active progress tebanzibu nnyo ya kulaba. Then kisingira ddala obukulu community eno era ensobi ndowooza tugikoze mu kulonda muno abavubuka tubeeradde. Nze bwe twatandika ekibiina e Manchester, our goal was to serve for 2 years tupasinge over obukulembeze ku baana bano abato. Kwa community eno tugizimbira baana bato. Fetukadde Sheikh Kassim sawa yonna nze nsibe emigugu ne wadde emyaka 5 Allah nkwatireko. Naye
kaddi wowe Kassim.
Sewo kaddi naye twagala nnyo abaana abato emyaka gya Beeka era kyenyi Beeka mu kubira akaluba nange abamulabe mu wakalu for his age ate abadde nnyo very active mu kusikasika abavubuka. Emyaka gya Beeka n'abato abali wansi wa Beeka tekirina buzibu n'okulonda omwana emyaka 20 mu okubuukira community chairman w'abasiraamu mu UK kisobokera ddala. gye tunaakoma okuinvolvinga abaana abato gye tujja okukoma okwensuwalinga continuity y'ekibiina kyaffe. Nze kyenzudde ku bantu abava e Uganda nga tuli bakulu ebintu tubiraba bulala n'ate generation gye tuzimbira nabo babiraba balala. Bano abaana bali completely different from us. Ebyetaago byabwe bya njawulo, challenges zaabwe za njawulo. So bwe tuba tetuba involvinze actively tuyinza okuba ng'ekintu kye tuzimba kigenda kufa naffe. Ffe tukirabye okuba ne Manchester tugezaako okusika abavubuka kumpi olutalo lukyaliwo olw'okubasika okuba ne baparticipatinga ne bwe tunaaba tetusucceedinze mu kupaasinga kintu kino ku bavubuka nga tukyaliwo okusobola okubakunga n'okubagayidinga engeri basobola okutambuzamu ebintu bino, then sirabawo much future. Kubanga ffe endowooza yaffe ng'abantu bakulu usually nina mukono gwo agiyita neegeera, twagala nnyo ebintu bya neegeera. Ne bano abaana bato balina focus gye balina ebizibu byabwe bya njawulo, focus energy yaabwe ya njawulo, okutegeera kwabwe kwa njawulo, basobola okutambuza ekintu kino. Yes. The point is what they say when I get the regional integration, community engagement, or activities as engaging abantu. Tezina kubaza deni zo kakalo mpira si bwa deni. Tulina okuteeka n'ebintu ebirala ku professional level tulina abantu basawo ba engineers na biki. Tuleko more activities engaging abantu. Ekibanga tekiri ku national level ne ku matwale level okulabanga. Tusika abantu waliwo omuntu nga y'obusiraamu ayagala yoswala. Nenga munagamba tugenda kwogera ku investment okukola how do we start a group investments mu Uganda nga kijja musikiriza okusinga omupiira oba okusinga okusoma Quran. Sebo zensonga zibadde very coherent nayenga.
Barakallahu fikum wa jazakumullahu khairan. Sebo Mustafa Kawoya okuva e Manchester. Messages here Farida Ntege agamba people would have been listened to. That is regarding issue you're listening, but they approach with disrespect and abusive languages. We are all human. I guess no one would wish to be abused and disrespected. JK says, well said. Sister Farida, listening and communication is important. What's there? Message is Hashimullah says, MashaAllah, if leadership is basing on accountability and transparency, Muslims won't fail to trust you with their contributions and donations. Shukran, Sheikh Kayira. Treat others same way you would wish to be treated. There's a message is again a muscle. This is Come Let's Talk with me, Kassim Kayira. This is your global community conversation, and tonight we are talking what should the UMC do? What should the next group of leaders or set of cabinet actually be able to deliver? Chiche wandi agaddo okubango uraba UMC waibaddo kugira ba mukifananyi ekifanagana kitya. I think that's the conversation we are having tonight, and lots of you still bring in your messages. Remember, you can just raise your hand and then we'll give you a chance to speak. Wendy says, let's not forget, these are leaders, so they lead, not literate. Amina Kenya Barakallahu Fikum says, listening exercise to find out the needs and expectations, transition phase, old and new together as a teamwork, well-informed chain of updates, regularly registered data for our community members. Those are some of the sort of summary of some of the issues that have been raised so far in the conversation. Sheikh Kawe Simanyo Wori available, so coming in, please let's hear from you regarding, well, we've had almost 3 voices from Manchester. We need to spread out a little bit, but if definitely you are there, why not? Let's hear from you, sir. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Conversation does the future of UMC, the UMC that we want.
Yes, we were Sheikh Kayira and the contributors I'm in listening mode. We want to twarakuliza bato bavubuka n'abantu abajja kwegamba eyo maaso tuwulire tuyige tulabe kwegamba kiki baagala kwegamba, particularly ng'abantu boogeddeko emabegaawo. Is their future, is their community. It's important that they contribute, it's important that they express their views, and it's important that we all listen and take note or take heed.
One of the ways is also empowering the regions, the shires, the counties. We take our representation of the North, the representative National Committee, South, East, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, Baberenti Baberane representatives on the national committee as one of the ways that would allow that, which would be separate from Abakuru Amatwari, because Abakuru Amatwari by default they come in kubanga bagira almost mu lukiiko lwa Amir olubanti lugenda kubati majlis ulama naye ne wabaawo specifically issue ekwataganye n'abano representatives that would come hand in hand n'abamatwari again okwengera okustrengthening area kubanga muntu singa abavuddeyo mukulu w'ettwale yekka bwati najja mu debate that is national, you might find that asobola okwekoona ng'ali bwomu naye agali awamu ndowooza emitwe ebiri gisinga omutwe ogumu gisinga omutwe ogumu nawe ekitono kiba tikiyamba. Sheikh Abdul Qadir, how do you see that? How would that work?
No, that is, of course, that is a brilliant decision, and and probably with the new constitution that is being drafted, ebintu ng'ebyo bijja kubeeramu era tubadde tulindirira tulabe kyekigenda okuva mu consultation eno oba kijja okuva mu draft empya kubanga wadde ogambye nti abamakulu b'amatwale babadde part nabo tebabadde part ya national thing tekiriiwo ekyo kwegamba, even that is not there. Kati ate ne executive committee ebadde, the structures ezaaliwo, I understand it is very understandable lwaki zaali zikola bwe zityo kubanga UMC bwe yakolebwawo yatondebwawo nga is a London based organization. It was not the intention okuba nti ekola ki abantu bonna abasiraamu bali mu UK bali under one umbrella. Kati n'olwekyo structures ne organization nabiki byali based London. Era for a very long time abantu ebagambye nga aboogenda abasoose ebitundu bingi tebali represented era tebalina NSA, apart from being part of UMC, naye they are not considered when it comes to decision making, when it comes to plan, to drawing us, up strategy, nga tebali part. Kati n'olwekyo byonna byogedde, those two suggestions ziri pertinent era ziteekwa okubeera mu kwegamba moving forward. Era ndowooza ebyo ebirowoozo the young people are coming up with now era biteekwa okusupportinga tulabe how we move forward. Era kati at the moment simanyi kwegamba, according to our current constitution, we have the board. I think we have the board of trustees. Probably the executive committee reports to the board of trustees. Naye nga tetulina representation eziva from different regions at any level, whether colleges, whether it's College of Sheikhs, whether the trust board or when this team comes in, those are the things that they need to start looking at and revising and consulting n'abantu becoming up ne constitution eri fit for purpose naddala ku mulembe guno ate naddala nga bwe tugamba nti abantu abato bangi era tuteekwa bafocusingako kati any structure gye tuleeta eteekwa okubeera nga catering for the needs of the young and the youth and the future generation. Naye sebo mwebale nnyo mwebalidde ddala, and let's hope for the best, inshallah.
Barakallahu fikum. And actually one of the things that probably once the committee is elected, once we have a new cabinet, one of the first things, of course, that the priorities they can see that constitutional review is top of the priority. Probably the first 3 months concentration in how the constitution now can be modeled. It's all the issues pertinent as representation again ya counties because once we do the review, it's very easy an impromptu annual general assembly part of the constitution. Abantu bano ne balondebwa mu bwangu obutalinda ate emyaka giri kumala genda kuddamu mu kulonda kunagwera. Bano abantu abava mu matwale, they can be integrated quickly, they will part of the system, which would help a lot of sort of transforming the situation. Sheikh Amregi, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Oli mba myaka abaatuula mu nsonga zino gye zivudde eno tuli mugezaako kulaba future gye tulaga. Olaba gye tuvudde ne gye tulaga lulwe eriiso ery'omukulu awaddugala awo walaba walabyewa kiki twetaaga okumenya.
okusinziira ku kojjange byayogedde ye gundi yange ye view yange nti bwe twali tucreating ekibiina kino twali tucreatinga nga kya United Kingdom naye ekyaleeta obuzibu nti movements zaffe abali mu London abatandika ekibiina zaali so limited oba tezaatuukiriza ekyo kye zaagenderera mu kibiina. According to the first constitution gye twakola twali tulina okubeera n'ekibiina okutambula okubeera nga tugenda mu buli kitundu oba mu buli region okulaba basiraamu bameka abaliyo. Tulinayo abasiraamu bannayuganda ogeza nti Scotland twalina okubeera nti tumuvinga tugendeko Scotland to finding out abasiraamu gye bali bannayuganda era bwe baba gye bali tubagasse tutya ku unity ya UMC. Tugende mu Northern Ireland, tugende Wales, tugende mu regions ez'enjawulo eza England tusobole okubeera nga tukwatagana tukole ekintu nga kinywevu. Naye ebintu nga abasinga bwe bagambye nti bwe mubeera nga communication tetambula bulungi ebintu ebimu byakola ki ne kiba nga kyetooloolera mu London wokka. Bwe twagenda ogezaako twagendako Coventry, Manchester and Sheffield. Newcastle wabadde tewali nnyo babakiikirira. Bw'ogenda Brighton katono abali abakiikirirwa. Bw'ogenda Bournemouth, Portsmouth, Southampton abasiraamu gye bali bannayuganda naye tebakola ki tebalina babakiikirira. Ng'ekireese ekyo kwe kubeera nti twalemererwa okubeera nga tutambula era n'abaana abalondebwa bwe banaalondebwa ne babeera nga bakozesa the same strategy abakadde gye babaddeko, we are not going anywhere. Bwe tuba nga ekibiina twakitondawo nga tukitondawo ku musingi gwa kubeera nti tukulaakulanya abasiraamu bannayuganda bonna gye bali mu United Kingdom, we have to pull our socks up and go outside, not only in London. Yes, London we wali abasiraamu abangi ennyo naye nga omwogezi omu yavuddeko bwe yagambye nti kababe abasiraamu babiri nga be bali mu kitundu ekyo naye nga bannayuganda, they are part of that community. They are part of this community. So we have to look for them. Kyekigambo nze kye bulijjo kye ŋŋamba abantu nti twebaze nnyo muganda waffe Ssekkalantani. Nze bwe nali naakajja wano yalina omulimu gwe yakolanga nti buli yamanyanga nti waliwo omusiraamu azze mu London ng'amakinga sure okulaba nti amutuukako amubuuze amutegeere. Senga tukozesa that strategy gye yakozesanga, I think tujja kubeera nga tuwangudde, tujja kufuna kye twetaaga. Naye bwe tunaasigala nga tuli wano mu London nga tukola bukozi London United tulina UMC etugatta United Kingdom naye nga tetutuuse before bikola United Kingdom, we are nothing.
Barakallahu ekyate actually kati waliwo n'abagenzi bakikolakolamu babadde balina okuba nti bakikola mu kukikola biina n'okugenda bisobola okugenda mu context ez'enjawulo. Sheeka we yankulaba okomyezaawo omukono se mugenda kujja gy'oli, but one of the ways bwe kibadde kibeerawo kwe kuba nti ng'abakyala ab'e London babadde bamanyi okwekwata, beekwata group bakyala nga 5-10 Hajat Farida nga mwalina delegation ya Nifa Kasija ne basiba safari ne bajja Newcastle of course bajja ne bakozamu ebyabwe kati bakyala meeting bagikoledde wano nakinaki but that alone mere fact nti bamovinze amakanda ne bagasitulako eranda ne bagagiyita wano makes all the difference nosanga
yes anti kakati kyekiri kye abasoose okwogera kye bagambye sijjukira bulungi ani yakyogedde nti senga tugamba nti
yabadde Mustafa Kawoya
senga tugamba nti okay Newcastle waliyo Kassim Kayira. Let us communicate with Kassim Kayira atubuulire basiramu bameka bannayuganda bamanyi mu kitundu ekyo era how can he do okubeera nti abantu ayongera okugaziwa mu Newcastle okumanya abantu abasiramu bannayuganda bonna abakola ki kyetagisa okukola ekyo then bw'akikola tukole ki tukwate executive efunemu eronda abantu bagende basinkana abantu abo bwe bana basinkana tujja kubanga tukole difference that kye twakolanga tuli Coventry
yes
if you remember
n'omugenzi b'asadu Allah amusasire naye
amusasire kubanga kye twakola kubeera nti tunoonya buli munnayuganda ali Coventry ali liddawa akola kikyakola
yabadde alina kyakwongerezaako awo tovaako sheeka amulegendo sheeka we yabadde alina
assalamu alaikum wabula kembadde njawulo gamba nange nze nja clarifying one thing and ffenna ndooza tukimanye wadde any organization abantu bonna ababeerawo kwegamba bakola emirimu newayinza okubaawo ekitagenze bulungi kinjala okwenfasizinga nti ki UMC omulimu gwekoze kwegamba over the years mulimu gw'amaanyi nnyo wadde nga twogedde abantu boogedde ebintu ebyo nja kwenfasizinga it's been successful egyasiŋŋaana abasiraamu yebatutte and so forth era abantu bakoze omulimu gw'amaanyi era I really commend tumbakomendinga bonna kwegamba abantu abo babaddeko olw'omulimu gwe bakoze nabajazahumullahu khairan kwegamba era senga babadde baagala okuddamu okubeerako and all of that the fact that they've been there for long would not have changed our mind kwegamba that would not have affected us. We would have just judged them nga tujudging abantu abalala nga tubesinga on their future plans kwegamba naye ekyo kiri awo ekyokubiri kyenjawulo gamba as far as I'm concerned ekyokugenda mukyala awantu ne bajja ne bava e London ne bagenda bakyala somewhere that's fine naye nga it's not the be and end of all things kwegamba ekikulu kwe kuba nti abantu bonna we bali buli region we bali bawulira they are included number one until they are included in abantu bagambye they are part of the community and also that their voice is heard and also that they fully participate in making decisions and also in determining the direction of the organization. Ekyokukyala ab'e Manchester bayinza okugana ne bakyala e London ne bajja bakyala e Manchester ne bakyala e Newcastle and all of that's good abantu okumanyagana and also to strengthen the ties between our communities. Naye ng'ekisinga obukulu wadde tebakyadde as long as nti abantu b'e Liverpool abantu b'e Newcastle their representation and all of that they are fully represented mu center oba mu kibiina their voices are heard they contribute era their views are listened to then ekyo kyokka kimala nakyokola kyokuba nti ffenna tuli bumu.
Fantastic. Barakallah.
That is naye nga finally kyeŋŋamba nti abantu tubeebaze tufokasinge ku birungi ebinene ennyo nnyo bye bakoze era ne community London kati mulinako headquarter south tebalina muzikiti ne in different parts abantu bali wamu organization weeri mukolera wamu something that was not there before. Kakati subhanallah kati jazakumullahu khairan era kansuubire nti community ejja moving from strength to strength ekikulu ku making sure nti abato they are part of this. Bali party ya baguyita mugendo.
The process, yes, mugendo. But yes, bali mu mugendo.
Yeah,
kubategeka nebe kuba process ya kubategeka babere nti bategekebwa batambule babere nti bagenda okuba nti batuuka ku readiness yetaagisa
exactly. And Musonyi okudda nenga just wanted to make that
barakallahu fikum. Obanti wakatujoining, if you've just joined us, this is Come Let's Talk with me, Kassim Kayira. It's 27 minutes past 9 o'clock. That means we have 33 minutes to the end of the program. Amina amba mbade ntanso kwebuza tingasitira bamarobozi ga bachara webale nnyo okuba nti ozze. Definitely tonight's conversation neyongera okukatiriza, we are looking at the future of UMC. What look should UMC how do you like UMC to look like? What should the UMC team take upon? Chicheba picking. And we're trying to look at the positives. So much to Zimba, ekintu kyaffe Haji Kiwa ndaba yamusede nnyo mu chat room very seriously very seriously in the chat room, but definitely to the future ya UMC. Amina Amba, go ahead. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sheikh. Tusanyi sokulaba.
Alhamdulillah. Webale kwegattako conversation.
Kangezeeko okwanguya kuba obudde bwaffe butono tugenda kuggalawo. Kati Sheikh nze ngenda kufokasingako ku bibuuzo bibiri byawabuuziza mu ntandikwa. UMC ki gye twagala and basically endala zetusobola okuyiga mu charities endala zetusobola okuleeta. Kati okuyiga mu charities ntunuulidde charity esinga obunene wano mu East London eya Islamic Relief.
Yes.
Manyi nti yo nkadde okusinziira ku UMC kuba UMC ya 2000 over something like 2005 naye kati ate eno Islamic Relief ya 1984. Kati Sheikh just woba ogenze just ku website ya UMC ku Google, just a Google, simple Google, tewali so much information. Ate kati ffenna tumanyi nti no information esinga woba ogyagala erina kubeera ku online. Naye UMC there wasn't so much. Naye ng'ate bwe nagendako ku Islamic Relief ng'olaba buli kimu bakyoutlineze bulungi ba members bonna ebifaananyi ku ebiri buli kimu. Kati ng'omuntu ofuna information help ndimu yaabwe kweri ng'oyinza n'ogikuba from there. Naye kati that's why UMC was lacking. Naye kati anyway, just trying to see how we're gonna move forward, how the government is gonna be like. Kuba abantu bakipungono ba UMC ekoze omulimu munene biki. Naye kati ffe abamu tetumanyi kati kyekiringa abaana abazaalibwa nga Museveni already ali mu power. Kati bo tebamanya difference ya bapresident. Kati ffe abazze wano ng'already UMC eri mu power ate n'okuba nga UMC ebadde invisible to us. Once I've only learned about UMC recently, very recently. Sinagitegeera na bulungi. Okitegeera sigimanyi byekola. Kati when nagendako ku website eza UMC nalabye objectives. Truly, Sheikh, I would say, these objectives are not met. Sheikh, we've got people, we've got our moms who came like 30, 40 years ago in this country, and now they are now disabled by stroke, by different conditions, and these people are not reached by UMC. They are not even known. To me, I just feel like going forward, UMC need to carry out consensus, need to know how many Ugandans are in every corners of United Kingdom. They need to have representatives within them areas so that they know banabantu tulina abasiraamu nga 180 abasiraamu 2 naye mbasiraamu bano tulinamu omukadde bwe bati tulinamu omuntu eyetaaga help bwetu tulinamu omuntu ow'okukeberako ekintu ekyo ekinaabawo ekiri tugenda kukyusa kubanga kati ffe tulina links e Coventry ne Birmingham, Scotland, Republic of Ireland. Naye abatali basiraamu balina comment eri so massive beemanyi okitegeera ate nga balina on top of that balina support from their churches like the Irish churches, Scottish churches. Naye kati abasiraamu beesuulidde bali omwomu bali eyo okitegeera.
I mean they can challenging because part of what we are asking UMC, well, challenging I'm just saying as part of the process of looking forward.
Yeah.
Part of the conversation ejakuba yetagisa okuba nti nga wazze n'ekyo ekifaananyi ky'olabye role yo egenda kubeera eriwa mu kugezaako okuyamba to bring that integration fruition. Lwana kibeera nti bw'oba omaze okumanya one ekijja okwewuunyisa nti bano abakadde bano b'Uganda bali disabled and so on baba balina abantu ababamanyi, but because it is not centralized information for everybody's knowledge losanga tikitegeerekese. Now there has to be need developing a database, which I think is a very important point that you raised. A process yatandiseemuko wano mu elections, at least for us in the counties. Manchester nalabye list y'abantu abali Manchester abasiraamu list yonna yafulumye. Newcastle tulina abasiraamu 25, some that people didn't even know. They were shocked. You pick up one person, the next thing is at least 25 abavuddeyo okweraga. Kassim even 40 wano tusobola okuwera a Newcastle ka. So because of that, era mu list eyagenza okulondebwa eyazze mu Electoral Commission, that list now has been brought in. Your database again ogenda mu Electoral Commission is database that is getting adopted and going into UMC. The which to already the process yokutandika okubuilding up database eyabantu baffe etandise ogenda taking a shape. Two, what about the programs like UMCBF, the UMC Burial Fund? Eyokuyamba abantu bafiira wano kati bweyagala bakuziika Uganda. Ofudde means ezogenda sonda ku UMC Zoom, tukoleyo Zoom kati Zoom uma connect Zoom tuweze okunoonya sente z'okusondera omuntu. A facility was put in place. Abantu bamaze okusayinga up. Database naye etandise okubuilding up of families that are coming ne basasula sente in case of food the choice yo oyagala kuziikibwa wano bakuziikibwa Uganda, and there are different rates that you're going to pay. That one is already beginning to generate a database, but also addressing a very serious community challenge. Ey'omuntu singa aba afudde twesanga mu mbeera ki eyasonda ne tuwona ensonyi z'okusonda singa omuntu oba olinawo provision gye weeteereddewo. So that actually sort of started. So I mean, please go ahead. I just wanted
to mukatono wano mbadde ngenda kwogera ku kintu ky'okubringinga in sente kubanga oba olabye charities endala ku website zaabwe kuliko ekigambo donate buli simple charity yawano naye is missing on us. Lwaki tetwekolamu omulimu oba ffe abakyaliwo abalamu abali healthy nowangayo oba olw'ekkumi biki? Why isn't something like that organized? Netumanya nti newe tuba tufiiriddwa omuntu tetulina kutuuza Zoom kuddamu kusaba sente, tulina sente zaffe ziri somewhere ng'ebintu byonna just nze njagala transparency, that's all. Transparency ne ways ez'okuringinga bells, letting people know about UMC, whereby we have maybe street parties, we have our Sadaka collected, we have consensus, we have support, financial support for these people who need it. Kubanga tulina abantu abatalina mpapula nga tebalina mirimu, abantu baffe bali bubi. We need to start raising money from us, our communities, and we need to actually just letting people know this is UMC.
Fantastic. Barakallahu fikum. Actually, the issue one of the things most charities engage whenever they do something, they publicize what they have done. UMC edimu organizations ezasing okusonda sente ezagenda mu time ya COVID. Packages, money that was being collected, sente nezikunganyizibwa ne bagula emmere ne bagula ebintu ebitonotono ebyatwalibwanga ne biteekebwa ku miryango gy'abantu abali balwadde COVID. There was a big effort. Yet there are organizations that I know out there is are receiving up to £500,000, up to £1 million. Ngabazi receiving from government to do that kind of work. In the UMC voluntarily from the money that you people, members, the more contributing, nobody knows about that. On the UMC website, which is a new development, so it does not have all that information. But that's where we want to bring in the new brains. This is the area now to put in, to pump in, to make sure until now we can push, making sure we can make ourselves visible. Your visibility of searching about a local MP, if they just search to UMC and they see that coming up straight away and they see the kind of activities that are going on. Even what you think is the smallest thing, when we've done in Baga, that alone is a community project. Community project shopping specifically for the day. Why shouldn't it be on our website to show that we are doing something? These are the ways that we are going to please go ahead. N.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. N yo yani?
Manya gange mpitibwa Fatuma.
Fatuma,
kakati ensonga zange ziringa 2 oba 3. Abantu kye tusinze okwerabira mu buzibu muvaamu obulungi. Buli wabeera obuzibu ate ekidirira buba bwangu. Ala yatugezesa n'obulwadde bwa COVID. Naye kati ffenna tulinga abaavaayo mu biyumba mwe twali ne tujja ku mutimbagano ne gutugatta mu buzibu obwaliwo. Kati ku lwange COVID bwe yajja MC ey'e London ey'e Manchester Coventry zaafuuka omuntu omu ekitaaliwo kolo lye twazaalibwa. Kale temunkwata bubi ffenna twaliwo era ng'emirimu gigenda bulungi nga buli kintu kitambula bulungi naye okuzaalibwa okwemanya kwa Zoom eya COVID.
Fatuma, sorry nga tunagenda mu maaso nnyo Silva nga keerabira. Actually, mbadde njogedde ku UMC yakola in terms of London. In Manchester, I remember I received messages, packages, ennene nnyo ezaatandika okuba nga zidistribute. In fact, they were much more, they were getting a lot more stuff in comparison to London. The distribution network gye baakozesa. Again, courtesy of COVID, kyobadde oliko, naye ne basobola okuba nti baakola omulimu ogw'amaanyi ogw'okusobola okudistributing
sibanyoomye era mbeebaza kuba ffenna kyatugula amaaso obunene n'obwetaavu n'ennyonta gye tulina mu MC yaffe ate ne tubayozaayoza n'obuwanguzi bwe baatuukako otukumaakuma mu biseera bye twalimu ebizibu ennyo. Byali biseera bya kanayokyani ne kwegamba baafuuka eddoboozi naye yali talina ddoboozi n'afuna obwogerero. Kwegamba baawuliriza abantu naye tubeebaze omulimu gwe baakola gwali munene nnyo mu kaseera ako nga n'oba badde tojja mu community naye ng'ofunye obuzibu baakuwuliriza ate ne bakudduukirira. Tekyataagisibwa nti oba essimu yo kweri oba oli ku lukalala oba toliiko ekyo kale kyali kya buvumu nnyo gye bali ne badduukirira buli muntu mu kiti mwe baasobola. Kale baba tebaakutuukako muno ebyo tebisobola kugenda bulungi era nga woobimanyi nti waliwo ebigenda obulungi n'ebitagenda bulungi naye kye mbadde ngamba nti twandiwagidde bano engeri gye twafuna omutimbagano guno tubawagire tubawe obuvumu ate nabali abavuddeko tetubayisaamu maaso tetubanyooma bafuuke eddoboozi ly'abano ffe gye tutaabeera mu kateni kwegamba kubanga buli kintu kyonna agali ewamu ge galumenya tulina kustandinga ffenna wamu okutwala ekibiina mu maaso naye ebyo bya transparency byonna kasita bali waggulu baneetereeza byonna bijja kwetereeza. Buli kintu kyonna bwe kigaana taata ne mama kasita batereeza awaka abaana baba bampisa baba bantu balamu. Kati ffe tubawe omukisa ogwo bambi bano abajja tubawagire tubawulirize tubagondere kwegamba kuba naffe nga community tuli bamitwe minene tetufiigika nno. Kati mukawaayiro ako mbadde nsaba naffe tweddeko nga be bafuga ko tetuli bangu bambi nabo si bamalayika nti tubasuubire kola biri perfect. Kati nga naye bw'osobye banange nabo basuubira okusobya naye tetutwala wala nnyo bajja kwesootinga. Obwo bye bibadde ebyange nsigadde ndi wano Nakito Fatuma
Allah akunyongerere mu mutimbagano redde wali ataddeyo mubaka n'aga nti ogedde bulungi nnyo sister N shekeke akuwe kyonywa.
Kayira jakimpeereza ndiwe Manchester.
Barakallahu fikum. Ndaba Manchester bakomyewo. If you just joined us mubanga tweyungako oli ku 75W radio ne Connect on YouTube, on Zoom, on Facebook. Tuli live nga twogera leero ku the future of UMC. UMC kije twetaaga okuba ebiteeso sofa birungi nnyo nkakasa nti Allah baana aba agonnomoddeko ebifo ku lunaku olwokuna tunaalondera biidhnillah. Ensonga muli mu kuziwulira and you are taking notes kubanga bino byonna bigenda kujja bijja tubuzibwa. It's on record and therefore it is part of the conversation. This is your global community conversation. Mbajjukiza nti next week inshallah nga sinaago kwerabira program oluse manyogera n'ebuguma abantu ebimu ne biwulirayo naye mbajjukiza nti next week ku lunaku olwokubiri inshallah 75W radio live and ne ku Connect sawa 2 ez'ekiro tujja kutunulira topic ejja okuyitibwa extraordinary people doing ordinary jobs. So extraordinary people doing ordinary jobs. For example, omukazi avuga basi, omukyala avuga basi, omukyala avuga lore, omusajja akola mu care home obanga adiringa n'abakadde. Twagala okulaba abantu ng'abakola emirimu gye waliwadde oga nti bagino emirimu gy'abakazi n'osanga abasajja bagikola, n'osanga omusajja agukola, oba n'osanga omulimu gwe waliwadde olowooza gwa kikyala oba gwa kisajja, n'osanga waliwo omukyala agukola. Bw'oba olinayo gw'omanyi yenna avuga baasi, avuga train, avuga loore nga mukyala, oba makanika omukyala, oba omusajja akola mu care home, for example, just as as an example, please turn up next week on Tuesday, inshallah. We shall be talking about extraordinary people doing ordinary jobs. UMC Manchester ndaba wakomye wakazindaro. Haji chiwa ndoza ngenda kujja kwewo ndaba we unmutinga buli kadde naye omukono gwakulemye okuwandika ndoza ngenda kujja gy'oli kasitava in Manchester.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, UMC Manchester, amanya gange bampita DHU'L, and mbadde nsaba kwogerako. I'm sorry nayogedde dda, first of all, anyway. But then many people have discussed things, and one of them chinkuteko, and I felt I should bring it up. So UMC, the coming cabinet, UMC UK, they are planning a lot of things and stuff like that. But then the bottom part of it is costs. I mean, where are we going to get the money to put all this in practice? Kuba twetaaga ways to raise the funds. Mbadde ku kakiiko akabadde kanoonya funding in Manchester, UMC Manchester, and ffe twagabanga the big packages in COVID and stuff, and up to now we are still giving. However, ngabo bayogedde ku updating a website and things like that. This is one of the ways we tuyinza okufuna sente nga UMC UK. Any little bit, any small thing, any package you give, even if it's a donation from an individual, what they have to do is to get consent from the people they give to take their pictures, because I mean, you need their consent under the GDPR legislations. Abantu abamu bali willing okubeera nga bastandinga in for the community nga abasiraamu n'agamba fine nja kuyimirira ku packages onkuba ebifaananyi. Bwe baba nga tebasobodde nga tebakkiriza bakube bukubi ebifaananyi bya bintu bye bagaba ne bwe ba donation from individuals. Basobole okubeera nga ba-uploadinga any small bit ku website, because these organizations ezigaba funding, what they tell us, even after they have given us the funding, bagamba nti upload the whatever things you have done. You do a project proposal and submit it in. So whatever activities you've done, kugura mmere, events and stuff like that, take pictures, upload them on the website. No take a logo yawe sponsored by ABCD. So this is helping other organizations. Bwobero tadeyo funding. Era coming back and bagamba tukebede ku website yamwe, you don't have this and this. Tukebede ku website yamwe, you need to upload ABCD. So any small things that we upload, any small activities we put over, wakatinga spot sidde jane bakube bifaananyi, you need to let people know. I don't know if we have a GDPR policy in place, but you have to let people know what is going to happen. Abamu tebagala baana baabwe ku websites, ba parents, things like that. UMC has got to work on this. So you upload it. So the next time you ask for funding, all these things will help to show the activities you're doing, the donations you're giving to people. Another thing is the bank account for UMC. I mean, we've given so many donations, omuntu afudde kusonda, whatever donations people have given to an individual account. This cannot account to help UMC okubeera ng'efuna funding from these organizations. I think we need to change this. Netubeera nga buli akasente akajja ne bweziba paundi 10. Bino muweeyo emu muweeyo 5 nezigenda mu account ya UMC UK. When we give in, we are asking for funding. They will ask us for bank statements of the charity. So bajja kulaba nti tuli baavu okubeera nti our members are even asking for £1 or neziva mu different accounts for different individuals. So chituyamba okubeera nga they give us whatever funds we have asked for. I just wanted to pass on that. So for the new cabinet that is coming in, please look into that. okubeera nga it's one of the ways ejo tuyamba okubeera nga tufuna sente from the funders. Thank you very much.
And it also, it also helps more accountability because people are looking, people are seeing Baravanti already, money has been put here and something is being done. And
also, I mean, we should find a way, like for us in Manchester, whatever small money we have in account, to it out time, about 1 month, over 2 months. Need to printing of statement. I mean, you don't have to put everything, but at least also pages the statements. Nemusteka ku UMC website, UMC charity WhatsApp group. Nemuzuwabantu nebalaba where their money.
The current balance is this.
Current balance and stuff like that. So abantu chibawa amanyo kuberanga gamba okay sente zaffe bazina sente bazikozeseza bwe bati and it helps people kuberanga batwongere sente.
Fantastic. Barakallahu fikum. Majati Ziada in Manchester. Sheikh Ali akazindaro kaina tayari. Assalamu alaikum.
Sheikh Muganda wange mukama wange wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So obedda nkulaba weri sankuli mu chat room naye kati ozze ku mukono kwennyini.
Mukama wange
tuli ku ngeri ya kuzimba UMC, future ya UMC gye twagala.
Exactly. Era so mbadde gye nga kolaka kuyege nga nsagula abantu era bazze nga tukyala keno neno. Mukama wange niyenza okumpa omukisa guno katola omukisa guno n'okulamusa ku baali naffe olwaliro ku radio yaffe 75W radio. Ntola omukisa guno okwebaza executive yaffe ebaddeko enkadde. Ngera abamu bo tusuubira inshallah bajja kufuna ku bulu basobole okuyambako ku executive empya ejja. Kiki twagala ebibuuzo babitaddeko dda ku mukutu era abagedde boogedde ku nsonga zonna saagala kuddamu biwedde wabula nze kye ŋŋamba kiri kimu omuganda agamba nti anaazina takumba be twalonda zuumu ewedde baatubulya bulungi nnyo be baani bagenda kukola biki kati ffenna okubayambako ffe we are the electorate abali wano olwaleero ffe tuyinza okuyambako abantu baffe bajje ebiteeso bye twogerako ebirowoozo ffenna bye tulina olwaleero tebiyinza kuyitamu tebiyinza kukola makulu okuggyako nga betwagala balonde betwagala batukole bye tulina mu mitwe tubakubidde akalulu ne batula mu woofiisi tubawa amagezi gaffe ebirowoozo byonna bino ebirungi nze kyenjagala okuva waggulu nga mbakuutira kakuyege temuyimiriza ennaku ebula bbiri zokka temukyusakyusa bifo ko mbadde ndabakwali mu chatroom nga mugamba ate kati tukyuse ate mukyala Kayira ajja akulende chairman yooli tulonde mukyala Kayira abere vice chairman tulonde
aina bavuganya nabo Sheikh Ali
wanyisewo
okulonda akalulu kabeera secret ballot ya muntu and then of course tulina ba candidates babiri so in Uganda tulonde gundi I think it would be unfair on a program.
Okay, nsonyiwa kama yetulonde ku babiri abo naye nga nze gonna alisinza okwagala ati waliwo gender balancing bintu byetwaga tukole twagala kukyusaamu bwabeera nga chairman waffe ye oli gwe tugambye nanze gwe twagala alhamdulillah yasigaddewo muhaji nsubuga lwaki omukyala tamukiikirira mukyala Kayira n'akiikirira abakyala watabadde inshallah kirowoozo kyange njogedde bwogezi sibagamba nti mulonde omu ku babiri naye nze gwendaba kyatukoledde nga okukola umma obulungi mu maaso akiikirira abakyala naye n'okubaawo ate eri waggulu nga bawogeraganya n'abasajja ffe inshallah wabula mbakuutira inshallah akafu abatamanyiiwe omugambe wa seekaali ehakini we wali akalulu tutambuzawo bigere inshallah tubalinze ku lwokuna assalamu alaikum
wa rahmatullah webale nnyo Sheikh Ali Sebo campaign olinga nga agiguddewo nga tubadde mu just opportunity ya kulaba where do we go with UMC tulazeewo okuva wano. Actually, part of the problem ebadde eyogerwako ennyo ye problem ya family breakups abantu okufuna obutakkaanya mu maka n'ebiddirira abaami okukasukibwa ebweru n'obuveera n'embeera oluusi abantu gye baba batetegekedde kumala kumanya ngeri gye bagenda kuba nti bajjeewaŋŋanga. Maybe this is a department now that will take special attention kubanga family breakups zibaddewo nyingi and it is a growing concern within the community. Of course, within a community that is growing, part of the problem is the moment you have breakups as a families, the next thing is it is children who are affected. Then when are affected, it starts the ripple effect and crossing all over. I would like us actually to sort of discuss this a little bit. Just in terms of what can we do, what should we do, family breakups in case of obutakanya. Are there things that we must avoid? Want to making sure I would like us to have a conversation around that, please. If you have any pointers, social workers, social worker, family breakups. I mean, we haven't heard from you tonight at all. What's there? What can we do? So, sort of call a situation where there has been a disagreement, family breakup, when problems have just happened, to avoid bigger problems. I would like to get a conversation around that. If we have any social workers on here to help us just try to understand. It might be that those things that happen in that particular moment become very critical for everything else that happens thereafter. Is there any way that we can do that? Hajichiwa message yo njiraba se. Hajichiwa message yo njirabye. The campaign is what I'm trying to avoid. Chiwa jangu, but we are sticking to Chiche Tusanyo Kwantukora, Kwantutwara Maso, community of UMC. Hajichiwa, unmute yourself, sir. Hajichiwa, who's it?
I think I gave him the mic at
Hey, okay. Yes, I was asking on the question. I have some when you actually the US na ye probably in comparison to all family breakups within African communities. Nyingi to come na Uganda it actually gets worse. How do you do it there where you are at?
I don't have any authority to say anything about that.
No, it's not about authority. It's about just how, you know, what's happened. Is the situation as bad as it looks? One way truly in the UK, it is becoming a big cancer. It's a big problem. Families are breaking up.
Sport na ye US is diverse. It's happening in Boston or Massachusetts is not the same as it's happening in Maryland or Wetuli.
Yeah.
Community that has a predominance of Ugandans normally tend to have a lot of those issues happening. So it varies from communities.
Mm.
Yes. So I played the fifth.
Soul protection. Okay, well, we have 6 minutes to go to the end of the conversation. It has been a very, very fruitful conversation. We know what needs to be done. I think Rehma in the chat room, you're insisting, you're repeating the sentence like 5 times. Confidentiality. And this is really, when you talk about data protection, it's not just data protection from the perspective of a computer. It's also what you have received. You know, what you have received. You know, what you have received, confiding in, are you able to keep that? And I think part of the challenge in Maseka, yes, with other leaders, I don't know in terms of the administration, when someone confides in you, no one I think that is one area where I think even punitive measures probably need to be introduced. Some kind of, you know, retribution or punitive measures. It's sort of what is taken. Of course, confidence, but at the same time already, trust your voter and shaking, as somebody else will not come to you to be able to seek your advice or seek your help. So kume chama chikuru. Actually, it starts with the individual. What is what kuma chama ichicho chenyini? Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam hadithi hafidhu ala umurikum bil kitman fa inna kullu dhu ni'matin mahsuda. Nubirenga we kume kwa kantu kwa kakume butibiri. Kume kwe chama chete nikeko. Kubanga buli aine kirungi ainako wensarwa. Buli aine kirungi chaina abako wensarwa. There is a problem when it comes to management of issues. With the systematic, you know, with the system in place. Again, in case of butakanya, police or whatever, is there a line that you can call? Because a lot of times around ogenda ofuna busungu oyangu yogenda okuyita bakigatto kasoma ruba involvinga story mazokuba nti ekyuka ogenda okuba nga yejjusa nga it's too late for you to change. I think these are things sometimes manyi mu biseera by'obusungu mu biseera byakyo omuntu obwongo buggalawo, but it might be that just that one little moment that you stand back and think might be the difference between future eyonoonese ne future esobola okubeera nti ebeera protected. 4 minutes to the end of the show. This is Come Let's Talk with me, Kassim Kayira, and tonight we've been talking about the UMC that we want. UMC twagala taking a shape. What should we have? Many of the things actually have been spoken about. Wabadeo issue ya career guidance, wabadeo issue yok take systems in place, wabadeo issue yoko promoting a website to a level where it has a lot more information of the goings on in the communities. In fact, in addition to that, website the different matwares where they can publicize activities that are going on in their places. Darasa, Gundi Agenda Kuwasa, all these things can happen. But also steps or platforms like 75W Radio, Nsababanange, Tujiwe, this radio, Ntambu de Maredi Uganda, but this radio, is better than almost 30, 50 radio stations in Uganda. Is that capacity that is there? Visit the station and see what is there, because probably we want to rub you are just on air, you don't consider it. Go there and see what we have. We want now to build it into a serious platform, but it can only be serious platform if it has content, and the content is useless if it has no consumers. So supporting, because then you'll start having adverts on the radio. That brings in a little bit of money. Again, the system is self-sustenance. We can start building up systems along the way. So inshallah, let us be objective mu kulonda kwaffe tutunge future gye twagala binene n'ebyogeddwako. They can only happen under one condition, that you have a new team that has a mandate. Mandate sejja kumala, because the mandate is the support from us. We have to be available, we have to be there. Mbakubiriza mwenna mugezeeko nga bwe musobola on Thursday to be able to turn up and vote in large numbers. To remind you, next week on Tuesday, inshallah, the program we are doing is Extraordinary People Doing Jobs. Dr. Suleiman Olaiko inaka taleke kana sina sibula.
Yes, akasembayo from my side. Kagamba, build better together, a collective approach. If you want to go alone, go fast. I mean, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. Let us build UMC together. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And what a sweet note to actually end tonight's conversation. Inshallah, yes, I think that is for the Electoral Commission. I had hoped that we shall have the people from the Electoral Commission. Hajati Sar and Ansuksa was supposed to be with us, as well as I think the chairman, but I think they were held up in a meeting with the executive again, sort of finalizing plans for Thursday. Hello?
Assalamu alaikum. Sorry, I was praying. I'm sorry. I found something to unmute.
Well, I've just put a question and I'm already saying goodbye now to people.
Hey.
I'd asked a question. It was just a question where I had wanted people's contributions, and the issue about day about family breakups, many families which are breaking up. And I was trying to gauge from the community if there are any things that people can do in those first minutes when there has been a disagreement in a family that can help probably to avert a situation, not rushing quickly together. And then by which time you cannot reverse the situation.
I think we're moving forward. Let me first say thank you for this wonderful program. I think I was really impressed by the way people have contributed and the way people really love their community. It's really impressive.
And as a caveat, Naima, you are my wife and a candidate in one of the positions. So that's the yes.
Okay. Kati, mbadde ngamba nti Bambi, I was really impressed kubanga there is no it's really useless okubeera nti oteekawo system nti eyamba abantu ate nga abantu are not even involved, even bothered about it. So I'm looking at an era where people are now more alert, more involved, their voices are being heard. They feel they are being heard. They feel they are being included, which is really good. So that will help move UMC to the level people want it to be, inshallah. In terms of obviously family breakdown, I think one of the things the new team would have to look at is to put up a service which we normally use, which is called mediation services. It's a very, very vital service in any organization, where before people go to court, before people go to high authority, they have people they contact first or deal with or work with before the higher authority, and it's really effective because it's more informal. So nga muntu we akyogedda mu chat room, people should really think about confidentiality. I think one of the things most of our people, Ugandan Muslims, are in Uganda, or Ugandan Muslims in UK are quite worried about, is that ebyama byabwe abantu bagenda ne babuulira abantu ebyama ate ne babisanga mu community baboogeddeko mu kutuba beba examples. So I think we have to deal with that crisis and be able to build a system that people can trust, inshallah.
Yeah, in brief, Hajat Naima, my question was, if you see there has been a crisis of sorts, is there something that someone should do before they run to the authorities? Because once you report to the authorities, a case is opened and then it might be difficult to change. Is there something that someone can do, basically sort of deal with the situation before rushing to the authorities? Of course, assuming there's no domestic violence probably involved in that.
So are you talking in terms of community level, or as UMC helping its people?
Yeah, as an intervention, because if we are thinking, tonight we have been talking about establishing systems. So we've spoken about, like in the treasury, we've spoken about investments, we've spoken about information gathering. So from a family perspective, because one of the biggest problems facing our community now, someone, I think it was Amina Bukenya who raised it, said, we are encouraging so much people to get married, but just as much as people are getting married, so are many who are breaking up. There is no system in place to try to see that the people that have got married can stay together. So my question is, one of the issues is you find that sometimes couples get angry, and in the midst of anger, they do stuff or maybe report things in a manner that stops any intervention from a community level because it has already gone on a higher level. Is there something that can be done from a community perspective before the authorities take over the matter?
For me, like that's what I was trying to explain. What I know is mediation services do work. That's the way we can go forward with that. So people have to trust that system. That's what I was saying, because confidentiality is quite key. And if people do trust that system, then you have less and less people going to authorities because they know within their community they can solve these issues.
Right. Fantastic.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Barakallahu fikum. The message here in the chat room is from Hafsa in the United States, because we had said that there are lessons that can be carried forward. And I think Hafsa says, thank you so, no, it was not Hafsa. It is Raha, who says, thank you so much for the program, Sheikh Kassim. Great lessons that we are picking up for those in the USA. So campaigning apparently will be continuing tomorrow on 75W. That will be official campaigning now by the candidates to be able to come and discuss their programs, because a lot of times it has been that some people have not had a chance to even voice their concerns. And therefore tomorrow at 7 p.m. on 75W Radio with Becca Chiinji, I think it might be hosted by somebody else since he's also a candidate, but it will be an opportunity now to come in and deal. And before we close, I think the pointers that someone has summarized the expectations here. Expectations, we are talking about confidentiality, registered data for our community members, community mobilization and engagement, membership, youth mentoring for employment, effective communication using channels, our platforms like 75W Radio. So next week, inshallah, Tuesday at 8 p.m., inshallah, we'll be meeting and we'll be discussing extraordinary people doing ordinary jobs. Please send me any contacts if you have any of a woman, for example, avuga role, avuga bus, avuga train, omukyala makanika, oba omusajja probably yasalawo okukola omulimu gw'abadde olowooza nti mulimu gwa kikyala, maybe asiba nviiri. Might be something. It will be a topic for next week, inshallah, as we discuss, because this is your global community conversation. Have a very good night, inshallah, and see you next week, inshallah. For those who will be able, turn up 7 p.m. tomorrow on 75 W Radio with Becca Chiindi, bridging the gap with candidates coming in to discuss their programs. And don't forget to wake up and go and vote on Thursday, because that's election day. That's the day that really matters. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
The radio has his hand up.
Okay, I'd already said goodbye, but okay, let's come back.
His co-host.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi.
Era campaign ozitandise obudde bukyali ssebo.
Wangi?
Okunsibira endowooza kabadde kakuddiyo ssebo.
Nedda ssebo badde mmaze okusiibula ate program mmaze okugiplantinga.
Nedda ssebo kinabadde njagala okwogerako kyabadde kya nti before people get married, ekibuuzo kye wabuuzizza. Before people get married, there has to be an organized way whereby bano nga tebannabagatta bamaseka baffe nga tebannagatta muntu. Walina okubeerawo board abantu babiri be bagenza otuula nabo ne basobola okuba nga baba counselinga before they get married. Kijja kuba kituyamba nti abantu bano ebitali bino ku mukolo, but they need to sit down with a couple oba abantu abali set nga bali organized nti bano be ba counseling abafumbo mu community yaffe. Before anyone in our community gets married, they have to sit down with these people basobola okuba nga batuula nabo balabe nti no, these two are ready for this journey they're embarking on.
Becca, there are times I find a bit of a problem with this, Becca. Kubanga simanyi wa community yaffe just the setup yayo yeina issue. Because abantu, first of all, ogenda okulaba emirundi egisinga mpozi omuntu gubalabidde omukyala. Omuntu gubalabidde ekiba kyangu okugamba nti ogenza muteeka ku peesi. Bamaseeka, one of the biggest problems tuyina. Khutuba egenda okukolebwa ku lunaku lwa nikaahi, ogenda okugezaako obuulirire ku bantu. Wallahi ng'eriiso lye bakutunuulira. MC bw'akusunaasuna wano mu kiwatu ayagala omalirize. And this is a moment, because once that ceremony is over, you start a new life and you are tied in forever. Either ogenda kuvaamu with a divorce or till death do you part. Now the dilemma is bamaseka bagenda okujja. Of course it is too late okuba nti ozze kukireeta ku mukolo guli, but that is the opportunity that we have been given in the existing system. Ogenda okulaba Seeka ayagala okumentioninga some of the things that are important to watch out. Ng'olaba omugole omusajja n'omukazi ekiiso kye bakukuba kyokka balaba obalwisaawo thawabification ayagala okudduka okugendako ne bakulaba
odiringa honeymoon.
Na?
Oba odiringa honeymoon.
That is thawabification, kute thawabu unification. Yes, so that ngokulanga engeri gye bakutunuuliramu yokka does not even allow you to communicate effectively over certain things they balina okuba nti taking into consideration. First of all, omuntu bw'oba ogenze ne mu maka n'olunaku lw'ogenda okusooka okubeera ne mukyalawo. By the way, unfortunately, abantu bababuulira ng'oga nti obabuulira on the assumption nti babeeranga bonna. Naye kati ogenda okugira omuntu babadde awo bavuze ka bayuni kaabwe emyaka gyabwe ebiri basazeewo bajje bagende okuwasa. Ogenda omugamba ogende onywe ku mata, onywe n'omubisi gw'enjuki ng'ogenda okuba nti ogenda mu nsonga. Ng'ensonga ziri azivugidde emyaka ebiri kati wagenda obitatekemu amata simanyi kyagenda kukola. So there are all these dynamics that become so difficult within the community. And I think that's the debate we need to have. We can't preparing. Where do we start preparing? Abana baffe abasinga agenda okugira choosing the omuntu we abasinga twefunira abantu baffe. How you deal with that? Becca, njagadde just in intervention here because I just felt like Bamaseka sometimes to taking that blame, and yet even at that moment where you have the opportunity okusobola okubuulirira abantu bano, opportunity togifuna kubanga the bantu bapapa bakufuna ebise by'okutawaana.
I think the thing is kasita tunakitandika ne kitandika, like for example tugambe cabinet ejja abantu abapya bakitunuulira ddala abakyala okubakulira abakyala oba even the whole cabinet batekewo system esobola okanselinga abantu baffe bano, kubanga buli omu ajja n'ebizibu bye byalina n'ajja ne bafuna abamu bagetinga married for different reasons, abamu mpapula abamu biki naye ate ne muvaamu abaana. Naye if there is that conversation at the beginning before nga tebannayingira mu nsonga za bufumbo zino.
Ate we mute nze beka.
Nga twingira mu maaso ne tuba nga tukola ki nga bafuna omuntu atuula nabo nga kiri official nga baana abantu community yaffe tumanyi nga seeka nga tonnagenda gatta bantu osooka babuuza mwatuddeko ne gundi mwatuddeko ne Sheikh Kayira ne yajja tinayima ne mutuulako nabo wemba temunnaba
twagambayo dde ebisaakaate eby'abasajja kubanga abakyala olwedde bali mu bisaakaate. Part of the problem has been abakyala bagenda okujja ng'oli mukyala bamupreparing ena abasajja tetuli ba preparing era Sheikh Abdul Kadir Gawoya Sebo Sheikh Amulegeya omulimu gw'omuyina kati gwa kutandika bisaakaati by'abasajja naffe tulabe bwe tugenda okuba nti twerwanako bannaye tuleme kuswala. Omuwana ajja bw'ati myaka 16 17 nga tamanyi bwe yeerongoosa kyannamukaaga n'osanga omuzadde awo tamanyi bw'agenda kwerongoosa n'azika yenna. Ebintu nga musajja si mukyala musajja agenda okujja yafuna help and for us to assume kubanga nate ffe twakula mu mulembe bwe twakula nga tulina ba peers bangi ababanga balina bye batambuddemu ne batuyamba ate okuyiga. They are not getting this access. They are not getting that access to that information. Kati ogenda okulaba ng'omuntu almost adda ku TikTok kwagenda okujja Sheikh irimu ye. I think we should wrap up, please.
Yes, bumaliriza nange asabwe mbadingira naye temwerabira enkya abakandidenti bagenda kubeera nga bajja beeyogerako bakuba final campaign yaabwe enkya inshallah ku Bridging the Gap.
Inshallah. All right, mwebali nnyo bannange mwenna abafisiza akadde nsaba Allah abasasula ekyemusinga okwagala mwebali nnyo. Keep it here next week inshallah tukomewo tulabe abantu abali mu mirimu egyo egy'enjawulo tujja kuba twogerako n'abavuzi ba baasi abakyala abavuzi ba train tunoonyezeeyo probably tuyinza okuba tulina bitupasobodde kumanya batunokolereyo tubalabe tulabe abantu abakola emirimu egiri extraordinary people naye nga bakola emirimu gitwale tulowooza nti giri ordinary. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Abankuumire atakuumira mpeera.